Welcome to Land Academy. I'm Jack Butala.
I'm Jill DeWit.
We show you how to buy real estate for half of what it's worth.
And sell it on the internet really fast.
We are Jack and Jill,
and this is the Jack and Jill Show too.
With over 15,000 completed transactions, we're the experts at acquiring property.
Of all kinds, not just land.
For half price and flipping them for way more.
All right, let's get this show started.
Jack Butala with Jill DeWit.
Hi there.
Hey, welcome to our show today. In this episode, Jill and I talk about how to score on your first mailer. Man, do I have some stories for you.
Go.
Before we get into it, let's...
I don't know if I can do it like this, guys.
You crack me up after all these years.
Sorry. You said score.
Before we get into it, let's take a question posted by one of our members on the landinvestors.com online community. It's free.
Okay. Brian asked, I'm looking at in a rather sizable county, and I'm looking for ways of staying away from certain parts of the county that don't look so promising. I see two possible ways right off, and I was wondering if anyone had tried them and what they thought. In CoreLogic,
RealQuest.
Right.
Same thing.
You can enter as a criteria school district and also mailing zip. My concerns about mailing zip is that it might rule out some undeveloped areas. However, as best as I know, there isn't a square foot of property in any county that isn't placed in a zip code area.
This is so intelligent,
yes.
Brian. I love this.
Even if there is no mail delivery. Anyway, what about using those criteria for narrowing the search in a large county? Is there a better way of using RealQuest Pro / CoreLogic? And I'm interested in these areas, but not that area.
Brian, I am not blowing smoke. I have no idea who you are. This is one of the most intelligent questions that we get. And the way that you phrase it is even more intelligent because you halfway already have solved it. You've solved the question halfway and you're just wondering if it's right. And I love that. You're 100% right. Mailing so picture a county, maybe it's the county that you live in or the county over, the one that you're most familiar with. Picture mailing a letter, an offer to every single 5-acre property owner, and then saying, I'll buy your property for $5,000. Well, you're going to really upset some people, and some people are going to sign it. So how can you make it more efficient? That's your question. There's a few ways. My absolute favorite way is to take a look at the assessor parcel number scheme in the county. So assessors issue parcel numbers when developers subdivide property. Every piece of property that's not government owned or Indian tribe owned or municipality owned has an assessor parcel number. And why? Why do they have this? Well, they have them so they can assess the land and send the owner taxes. So picture a map of the county that you're thinking of. In the northeast corner, maybe there's the assessor's parcel number starts with 104. In the southeast corner, it starts with 996, and on and on and on. So in 104, it's pretty cheap property because it's really rural. In 996, that's where the big city is, maybe like Dallas. You want to stay out of there. Or maybe you don't. Maybe you really do want to. So you have to get the assessor's map or the assessor scheme, how it's all mapped out. Get it. It's called an index map west of the Mississippi. Lots of different counties call it different stuff based on where you are in the country, but get one. Even if you have to go into the county and take a picture of the one that's on the wall. Jill and I do that all the time, literally. Because they don't have, you have
Didn't have any.
Or a lot of times they charge you for a map that goes on the wall. Mm-hmm. Why do that? Just walk in, take a picture, and walk out. Mm-hmm. You're going to see right away. Hopefully it's color coded. You're going to see right away that certain parts of the county deserve a $1,000 offer, and certain parts of the county deserve a $300,000 offer. Mm-hmm. The faster you can get real good at that, the faster you're going to grossly succeed in this business. Pricing offers. I had one member tell me that he spends about 20 minutes doing a mailer and then about 3 weeks pricing it. So what a great question, and I can tell you're going to do great, or you are doing great in this business. Do you have anything, Jill?
No, it's great.
Did you pick out a good nail polish color?
I
did.
For that? No, you know what I did? I made myself a note to write a blog about how to read an index map. That would be kind of fun for people. I think I might do that.
I love that stuff.
Uh-huh.
That's
I
why
do
I'm
too.
here.
I do.
I don't
like
want to talk
that.
to customers at all.
I know that. Thank you.
If you have a question or you want to be on the show, reach out to either one of us on landinvestors.com. Today's topic, how to score on your first mailer. That was a good The answer to the question that I just answered is how to score on your first mailer.
That is part of it.
This is the shortest
huge.
episode ever.
Okay, well, we're done.
Most of the listeners are like, oh, great. They're done.
No, the kids are in the car going, great, they're done.
No, the kids have headphones on these days.
That's true.
I wish we
And they're
had
not
those.
listening to us.
Man, what if we had headphones like that when we were kids?
How to score on your first mailer. Okay, so give me your top.
So you go into RealQuest, right? And you choose a county, and now you're staring at the county. The first thing you want to do is scrub stuff out. Scrub the properties out that do not. There's no chance that they're going to write a letter back, or scrub out the fact that you don't want certain types of property. So here's how I do
Fire
it.
department in a hospital.
Yes, and a cemetery. I
Right.
bought a cemetery on accident once, but that's a different podcast topic. So the first thing I do, the very first thing, is if we're buying land, I take out every single property that has a structure on it. Well, how the hell is that?
Yeah, how do you do that?
So it turns out assessors, they assess the land and they assess the improvements on the land. If there's no improvements on the land at all, the assessed value is 0, or in data we call it null. There's just no value there. Good. That takes out 20%, 30%, 40% of the properties in the whole thing. Number 2, use. Like you just said, are you going to buy a hospital? Are you going to buy the lot next to the hospital? Are you going to buy a property that's zoned for heavy industrial and there's a bunch of nuclear sludge on there? No. You're not going to buy a cemetery, and on and on and on in our programs. I show you on the screen exactly how I do it, and I'm getting awesome reports back that it works. Well, it's worked for us forever, but
Well, we're a couple years in now. Awesome reports back,
So-
from 2 years ago.
so now we're even whittling the list down further. So in scrubbing out the use, so now we have a data set of now certain sizes, right? Well, we got 180 acres in there. We got 3,000 acres in there, and we got 0.0002 acres in there. Which ones do you want to get letters? And so do you decide on that? That's a personal preference. In all of our material, we talk about 5-acre programs because you can buy them so cheap and sell them for a lot. And the barrier to entry from a financial standpoint is real low. Most places you can buy a 5-acre property
Under 1,000.
or 1,000 or 2,000 or even 5,000. So
Exactly, depending on the area.
you can come up with that kind of money, especially if it's worth 10 grand. So great. Now we have the size down. So now we have a list of properties. Oh, and I forgot. Totally remove any properties that have any types of liens on them. So, which it's a fancy way of saying make sure there's no loan on it.
Exactly.
You don't want to mess with that. You don't want a bank to price your deal or make a decision. You want Sally Smith at her kitchen table with a cup of coffee in her hand to sign it.
Can I pause right here and
Absolutely.
just say something, because I want to make sure that our listeners know this. This is one of the reasons we use the data that we use, is because if you get a list of
checking
owners,
owners,
a box.
Never use a list.
Yeah, don't get a list and try to sort it and tell your VA to go and take all these things out. That's a huge waste of time and money and energy, and they don't understand.
Yeah.
This is something that
And it's fun.
it is fun. How we are really, when we're using this, we're saying this like it's so darn easy, because it is so darn easy. We have the tools where we're looking at a screen and literally checking or unchecking a box. And where it says improvements, I'm putting 0 here and 0 here. Okay.
Check the box.
Check the box. Do you want this kind of property? No, I don't check that box. And then when it gets down to the size, I'm really putting in 4.92 to 5.12, because I'm trying to get a.
God, it sounds like you know how to do this.
I'd almost done. Because I want to be able to get a list of potential sellers, the owner, records in a sizable number that I can work with. And if I say, so when we're going through this whole process and I put in those parameters and I'm staring at 50,000 records. I don't want 50,000. I don't have a budget for 50,000 right now, and I can't answer the phone for 50,000.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do right now, and I'm going to make it 4.99 to 5.1, and you don't pay a penny while you're massaging all this stuff, until I massage it so much that I go, yeah, you know what? That looks good. That's 3,000 names. I know I'm going to further, once I get the record, scrub it down a little bit more, because there might be duplicate names or whatever in there. I'm going to take those out. I might work with a little bit more once I download it. But hey, you know what? Those 3,000 names, now I'm going to push the button. I'm only going to pay 8 cents a record for those exact names.
And you've got a real extremely high intelligent chance of buying, now that you've scrubbed the data properly, 1 out of 100 that you send. Here's a mistake that I see a lot on a first mailer. They quote unquote test it out.
Right.
If you've ever had a statistics class or even a math class, the larger sample that you take, the more accurate results you're going to get.
Right.
So if you send 100 mailers out and you think that you're going to buy one, that's really silly.
Right.
Do yourself a favor. Trust me. Do not send a mailer out that's less than 1,500 records.
Right. You want to come back and have, and people too, I see them making this mistake. The first one comes back, they're trying to make it work. Okay, hold on a moment.
Yeah.
Wait, get 25 together, put them all in a spreadsheet, line them up, and pick the best ones. Okay, there's gonna be the several that immediately rise to the top where husband and wife are all alive. They love your offer. They're
Take
ready to sign
25
tomorrow.
girls out to dinner and pick the best one.
Silly. But there's going to be some that's and don't try to hit your head against the wall trying to make your first one work because this guy died and now we got to do this and I got to figure out that. And okay, hold on, put that one aside here. It doesn't mean that
Especially
you can't
if
get
you're
to
new.
it. Yeah, but does not start there.
The
Grab
first
the
10
home
deals
runs
you
and
want to
run.
do, first 10 deals you want to do need to be slam dunks. Oh my God, run into the bank. Please don't change your mind, seller. Please don't change your mind.
Exactly. I think I priced it wrong. I underpriced it and he liked it. Oh my gosh, I got to do this quick.
Right.
So those are the ones you want. Okay, thank you. I just had to add that.
So now you have a list of, you're staring at the 3,000 that Jill's talking about. What do you do? How do you get them in the mail? Here's a mistake I see people make.
Oh, I'm going to handwrite them on yellow paper with my kids sitting around the table.
Do not put anything on the outside of the envelope. When people get mail with absolutely nothing on the envelope, they wonder if it's from the IRS. They wonder if they won the lottery. They don't know. They open it. The open percentage on mail that has nothing on it. So now you're saving yourself some money there. Only use a professional bulk mail company. Why? A, it's incredibly cheap compared to doing it yourself. You do not need a printer. You don't need a toner. You don't need to go to the store to buy any envelopes or any of that stuff. You don't horse around with that. Let the pros do it. Plus, it's cheaper. They use some very sophisticated software that allows them to get a huge price break on bulk. It's a bulk mail print license from the post office because they know what they're doing. So they run it through software, and all the undeliverable addresses that are in the database you send them, they don't mess with it. So
They
now
get
you've
picked out
eliminated.
before your printer puts there's no postage paid. They take them out.
Yeah, now
for
you're
free.
you're not wasting 50 cents on that.
Exactly.
The bulk mail printer we have, our group, charges 49 cents a mailer.
And it's
Whether you send 50
faster, by
or
the way.
5 million.
My
And
other
they get it in
thing-
the mail. They get it in the mail the same day.
Well, I mean, even the delivery, because of the way that it's they're sorted
Right.
and delivered to the post
There's
office,
computers.
it's faster delivery than if I went out and put a stamp on it and did it myself.
Yep.
So, and hand wrote it. That's going to be a lot. It's going to take 2 weeks. This is going to take a lot less.
I saved the most important for last.
Ready?
But we really already answered it in the original question, this episode's question.
Which
you
was?
have to price it right. All of the stuff that you could do it perfectly. Every single thing I just described, if you do not price the properties right, it's going to fail. If you send everybody who owns vacant property in Manhattan, New York, an offer for $500, it's going to fail. If you send it for $1 million, it's going to fail. If you send it for 14 million, now it might work, and it might be worth 18. Those are the kinds of deals Jill and I do in California right now. We try to make at least $100,000 on every deal, or we really don't do the deal. And it turns out we make a lot more usually. Guys that own property like that outright, they run into hard times also. So you catch them on the right day, you're going to buy a $800,000 ranch in Santa Barbara and sell it the same day for a couple $100,000 more, because it's still worth $2 million, especially if it's next to Michael Jackson's ranch. Neverland.
Exactly.
I heard that sold recently, like 3 years ago,
Oh,
for
okay.
a tremendous amount of money.
I think I did hear that. I haven't looked it up. We can look it up too, by the way.
Pricing.
that.
Spend 90% of your time on a mailer pricing it, and the other 10%, just outsource it. Not the data piece. Do that yourself, but outsource the mail, and all that stuff. That's how you score on your first mailer. I have example after example of members calling me. They're so afraid to do their first mailer, and then they call me in tears and say, "Oh my God, you're right. I'm buying 13 properties, and I've got 20 more, and This worked out so well that I just sent them out for 5 acres, like Jill said, but I'm going to send them out 6 through 10 acres on the next one. And I'm hiring somebody to answer the phone, like JillLive.com. That's a total plug.
Thank you. It's coming.
Jill has a whole company where you can outsource answering the phone, like because most people have a job when they started this, and some people use our program in a creative way to because they want to buy a new house this way.
Exactly.
So they send everybody in the neighborhood where they want to live an offer. You don't want to answer the phone with all that.
Yeah, let them weed them out for you.
Yeah, let them. 20 people are going to call angry, and then 8 people are going to call and say, "Yeah, I'd really like to talk to you about this. Your timing is perfect." Let the gatekeeper at Jill Live answer the phone and give you the good ones.
Exactly.
You don't want to go through that. Trust me.
Exactly.
You can, if you price it right, you're going to generate some hate, man.
Right.
Then you know you're doing it right.
Don't let that be a gauge. We had that as a show, though. That shouldn't be a gauge.
Right.
Love it.
If you have real thin skin and you don't like being yelled at, this might not be for you. Or you can partner with somebody like me because I enjoy that kind of stuff.
But you know what's so funny? You know what's so great? You have you know what? It's only it's really the initial time that happens, and then you're over it and you expect it. And we all kind of joke about them now. And I've seen in our group that people like share like, you're not gonna believe what this guy called me. I have never heard this word before. He made it up, and they share it. It's kind of. You just have to let it roll off your back. It's not a big deal.
So and I'll end on this. You need a professional set of tools to get this stuff done, and that's the business that Jill and I are in. Besides buying and selling land and houses and stuff, at landacademy.com, we have membership levels, and we have subscriptions to the data, discounted mail service, the research, all of it is included in one subscription fee.
Right.
And it's monthly subscription fee, and it's less than half of what you would spend if you walked in off the street to get these tools, or if you signed up by yourself.
Let me share one thing, and this will help everybody fall over, because I don't think people believe me, but it's true.
Yeah, it's just
Imagine
like we talked
this.
about at the cocktail party yesterday.
I was talking to somebody the other day.
They don't believe this.
What they're spending. I mean, they're spending close to $1 on a mailer, and then I don't remember how much they're spending on getting the owner information. So we're talking, we have the best owner information on the planet.
RealQuest is the best.
It is. It's 8 cents. 8 cents.
It's
pennies.
It's 30 cents if you go in off the street.
Right. 8 cents a record to download. Plus, what we're sending is 49 cents. So let's think about this. At 57 cents a unit all in. And the only work I'm doing is
In your computer.
making the list what I want it to be, and we're just sending it all to the printer.
Yeah.
And then that's it. Hands off.
Did you ever lick like 1,400 stamps?
No.
I'm telling you, it's a good buzz.
Yeah, I bet.
It's like drinking a bottle of vodka.
I've not done that.
I have, a long time ago. That's how we know how to do this stuff, because I did it all wrong for everybody.
Got it. Yeah, that is true. You have done that. You've hired outside organizations, like with people hanging out. I don't know if it was like a halfway house.
It was
or
a
what.
halfway house.
Okay, thank you. Right, yeah, to stuff envelopes for you.
And they loved it. Repetitive kind of Rain Man stuff,
Exactly. But there's a cheaper way.
Join us in another episode where Jack and Jill discuss how to get stoned from licking stamps. That's me.
And inspiration and keep you on track. That's me, to get just about anything you want. We use it every day to buy property for half of what it's worth and sell it immediately.
You are not alone in your real estate ambition. That was a good show. I love sharing information.
So what is on the back of a stamp that gives you
I don't know, it's glue or something. I don't think you have to lick it anymore. Honestly, I think you just stick it. Like,
what if
we're in
there
the
are any
21st century.
stamps out there that you do lick? Wouldn't that be hilarious? That's funny.
I wouldn't know, because I haven't bought stamps in decades.
I know. It's kind of like writing a check.
Yeah.
Where was it? Oh, I made a joke the other night, or out, and we walked into an establishment that only accepts cash. So my joke was, "Can I write you a check?"
What did they say?
They just looked at me.
Oh, these
That was
kids
Terry.
don't even know what a check is.
Terry looked at me, and I'm like, I know. I was kidding.
That's awesome.
That's so funny. We were in a store the other day, and I did see a check cashing thing, and I'm like, I can't believe this is still on the counter in a store. Who still writes checks?
Now, I'm not a spring chicken, and I think it's silly. So it's got to be people who are like 80.
Yeah, it's
but
my
even
mom.
Then, yeah,
My
that's
mom
what it is.
carries a checkbook. She still writes it in the grocery store and stumps everyone.
My dad doesn't even carry a wallet anymore. He's just done.
I get
I
that.
respect that.
Exactly.
Information and inspiration to buy undervalued property.
We
are Jack and Jill, and this was the Cash Flow from Land Show. We are the experts at acquiring property
Of all kinds, not just land.
for half price just so we can flip it for way more.
And really fast. Thanks for listening.
You are not alone in your real estate ambition.